There was an interview with Takashi Iizuka, the current head of Sonic Team.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, and 3 different articles on TSSZ. We want to build a Sonic title which represents the evolution of the Sonic series for the last 20 years. Or last 25 years, if you're forgetting that.
Yeah.
Modern Sonic, another thing, Modern Sonic will not be changing its design. Good.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of a stickler with some tradition, but then again, nothing wrong with the current design right now.
No.
And Sonic Team wants to build a new internal standard for its products. So, what does this say that we haven't already said before with Sega apologizing twice?
Well, really, this whole thing comes from an article talking about obviously Sonic's history so far. And interestingly enough, it wasn't just him, it was also Bob Rafferty of Big Red Button talking about how they went around making, of course, Rise of the Lyric, and particularly the outcome of that. And this is really more of the case of him as Tashi, really, as Sonic Team, basically say, okay, where is Sonic at the minute, and what are you trying to do, or what you hope to do with it in the future?
Well, yeah, I think one of the things that Iizuka brings up is he wants to make him a character who continues to be iconic and remains relevant as one of the first cool characters a child might see. Despite what your other kink friends might say and what you read on the internet, and especially on 4chan or Facebook groups, or basically anyone who hasn't played a Sonic game since the Mega Drive days or since 2006, Sonic is still and will forever still be one of the most popular gaming characters of all time.
Yeah,
you see a blue hedgehog and you instantly recognize, oh, that's Sonic. Despite the jokes, despite he hasn't had a good game in the past 20 years.
Yeah, you get past all the cynicism and the sarcasm aside.
Yeah, he is still one of the most popular gaming characters of all time. You cannot deny that.
Yeah.
You can recognize Mario, you can recognize Pac-Man. Fuck, a lot of people today can still recognize Spyro or Crash Bandicoot.
I think, and like I said, for this whole interview thing, I mean, it's interesting because whenever something like this, whenever there's a big discussion about Sonic Hedgehog, we don't really hear that often from Sonic Team very often. They're very hush-hush. And
no, majority we hear about is from Aaron Webber and his cryptic clues on social media.
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, Aaron Webber is really the voice. He's really the sort of the person in between. He's in the middle of Sega and us, the fans. So he has to be the talking piece, really.
Yeah, he can take a lot of stuff on the nose, really.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, when it comes to either the success or the failures that happen with Sonic, particularly with Rise of the Lyric, we haven't really heard that much about what Sonic Team's, the view of it or ideas behind it. I mean, we've heard a few things like when we designed Sonic for that game, obviously they had a few concepts that even they were going like, what the hell is this? And
yeah, even quote, Takashi Iizuka could not look at the screen.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's how bad the designs were, and the current Boom Sonic is what he was happy with.
And it is worth mentioning because Bob also said there's like the Sonic Team were very much into it, saying we have to keep the basis of what makes Sonic Sonic. There has to be those general features that people recognize from.
And essentially, it was a different take on Sonic. It wasn't the Sonic; it was the Western Sonic, I guess.
It's also worth mentioning, he did say, I want this to be, it is going to be a different Sonic, but I want there to be enough that people can recognize it, that it's similar, but it's different.
Yeah. Eventually he went on to go, and quote here, because Rise of the Lyric tried to do a different take on the norm, and considering the results, this made Sonic Team feel like it wants to build a Sonic title which represents the evolution of the Sonic series over the last 20 years. We do think that the games should always be open to evolving and constantly improving themselves. We use our Sonic Team logo as a brand for those titles we feel confident in.
That's something.
I don't think everyone was the most confident. Yeah. And though Sonic has evolved and changed in terms of gameplay, we found out what works best. We want to keep creating good games so that Sonic Team's logo will always be a standard mark of quality. Even though, again, like I said before, a lot of people will see Sonic Team logo and think, oh fuck.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's that part saying that, it's like with Naughty Dog, for instance. When you see Naughty Dog on the box, you pretty much know what you're getting. It's like, that's a seal of quality, you're in the right hand, you know what you're going to get. And it's going to be good.
Compared to seeing a brand from EA thinking, oh shit, how much is this? It's going to be downloadable content.
Exactly. But like I said, that's the thing that really worries me. I mean, my feelings to Sonic Team is that I never think for 1 minute they're just a bunch of assholes. I mean, it's kind of weird. Everybody likes to bash and they always think, oh, Sonic Team, what a bunch of idiots they are. They don't know what they're doing. They should just leave and leave it to better people. It's like, come on, they're not the worst developers out there.
No.
There are at least 20 other companies out there that are
Go on Steam and look at the indie developers there and tell me, oh, they're better than Sonic Team. Because you know what? At least Sonic Team actually makes fucking games.
And also,
I can't think of one game. Okay, aside from Sonic Runners, but that's a mobile port, but that's a given. Every single game they've made since 2006 has been solely a video game for you to play.
Yeah, and it is worth...
Stuff like EA and Activision games, or even Ubisoft on occasion, fuck it over completely.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Unity, Evolve, Titanfall.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
like, I don't want to play a game where I need other people to actually enjoy it. At least I can pick up a Sonic Team game and think, okay, I know what I'm going to get. And the multiplayer on it is going to be a luxury, not a necessity.
But
and the entire game is there. I'm not going to pay $5.99 just to get the fucking ending.
But again, this idea of thinking, as you said, it's like we want to improve and, enhance stuff we've done before. Ironically, they've been doing that for the last few years. Like I've said to you many times, like the rail grinding mechanic, for ages that just didn't work. It was always a bit fiddly and you ended up falling to your death. By the time Unleashed came out, they nailed it. And
then they improved it a bit again on. I don't think it was in colours that.
Well, no, I mean okay.
Yeah, it was. Then in Generations, it was pretty much nailed on. Like it's there, it's able to control. Then they fucked it up with Lost World because you had to jump between.
Lost World. I thought they were going to ruin it, but actually, in comparison, that actually isn't really that bad. Trust me. I mean,
I still prefer Unleash's
control. I know, but the point is that
grinding.
they do learn from their lessons, and again, and with Lost World, that was really them just trying something new. I mean, this argument of it has to be this, this, and this. This is what a Sonic Team should be. It should always be like this and should never try anything else. Well, that's the easy way of a game to stagnation.
Like look at Crash Bandicoot. Forget his name. Mike Cerny. He wanted an open world Crash game, and he got an open world Crash game, but he couldn't do it with Wrath of Cortex because there was a falling out with
We're different.
I think it was falling out with Universal, and he had within 12 months his team had to make a standard Crash game to sell.
Well, that's the problem, really.
But eventually he got to make an open world game, which granted wasn't that fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the thing. It's the idea of if you are just so like, your last game, we're not doing that. Any good thing about, no, we don't want it. Leave it. All of it is in the dump. It's like, you shouldn't be like that. You should salvage what was good and build upon it. And for me, Sonic Team have always been doing that for the last few years.
Yeah, they've tried new things. If it doesn't work, they fucking leave it. The Daytime Stages Unleashed fucking worked. We had 3 games based on it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Colors...
But eventually it kind of got boring.
I mean, let's be fair. Colors was pretty much the result of basically, okay, what worked from Unleashed? The Sonic stages. Right, let's just build a game solely on that. So again, it's not like...
They include the Wisp, which took up most of the gameplay.
Yeah, but again, that was clearly them saying, okay, that's what the audience wants. And sometimes, the audience doesn't know what it wants until you give it to them.
That's pretty much... I think Yahtzee pretty much put it in place. Like, he didn't know he wanted something until he played it. Like, Papers, Please. You tell it, what do you do? Well, you just look at documents and you just go deny or granted. And pretty much that's the entire game with some rules being implemented later on. You tell that to someone and you're supposed to be, what the fuck kind of game is that? Why would I play it? Go away, you cretin.
Yeah.
I played it. It actually is a very engrossing game. Like, I didn't know I would actually enjoy it. I did a video of games I underestimated because I didn't think I would actually enjoy them. Who would think I would love Saints Row 2?
Yeah.
And going to Saints Row 4, it's like, that's how you evolve. And that's the whole thing. You have to evolve to evolve a game. You can't just do the same shit all the time because it gets boring.
Yeah, I mean, like I've told you so many times, and sorry if any of you have heard this before, but you look at Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers. How many times can you just remake that fucking game again and again? People are going to.
Do you know how? I gotta say this. Do you know how hard it is to play New Super Mario Bros. Wii?
Tell me.
Without falling asleep. It's not as a hard game and all. It's got a reasonable difficulty. It's got decent controls. It looks great. Yeah. But fucking hell, is it a chore to get through? I was bored.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If Sonic games ended up like that, we just get bored of it. It would just end up just like another new Super Mario game. So it'll just be like, oh, this is like the last one. And the last one.
Yeah, and that's why I don't entirely hate Sonic 4. Like, oh, you ruined it with a home attack. Yeah, but that's an evolution. Yeah, sure, you could have still include the elemental shields and such. They could have more levels. The controls could have been a bit better, and the physics. But you know what? It's not bad. It's an evolution.
I mean, again, I think part of the other problem is the reputation of Sonic. That, again, he has such a high pedestal that anything that isn't up to that level, people are just going to immediately cut it by the knees. And that's the biggest problem I think Sonic Team has, is that they know...
Everyone has this idea. It's like, is it better than Sonic 3 and Knuckles or Sonic Colors?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it any worse than Sonic 06? Those are the two standards people always go towards. Like, is he macking on humans, which he never did in the fucking game? Yeah. Or is he having one hell of a great time platforming and speeding through levels? Somewhere in between. Oh, I'm not fucking giving a shit then.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, when you do hear, about the Tashi or anybody from Sonic Team talking out what they felt about past games or whatever, again, I always get the feeling that they are trying. It's never the case of they're just sitting down and just being lazy. It's like, even something like, put it this way, I know you've ragged on so much about Sonic Runners being a pretty lousy mobile game, but here's the thing, we've gotten to a point now where they know how to make console games now. They really have nailed how to make, a modern generation video game.
Yeah, and they're not just sitting in a room just throwing darts on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big guts.
Sonic
falls
in love with
a tub of
ice cream.
Although technically, when you think about it, actually two of them are real. One, Sonic was involved with ice cream in Sonic Unleashed, so you got lucky that time, Yahtzee. You got lucky. And
they included chili dogs in the canon, so yay for us.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, hearing something like this, it's good to hear that, again, they do care. And like I said, Tashi has always been, when you do hear from him, he generally does care about this. I mean, I've seen him and met him in, Summer of Sonic, and he's very interested in what fans feel about things and stuff. So it's not like he has no interest. He definitely wants to do the best he can. I mean, sometimes things don't go always right because, making games is a job. Sometimes things go right, sometimes things go wrong. And obviously, if it doesn't go wrong, it's gonna, as we know, the backlash is pretty harsh with any type of game. I mean, you look at, here's a good example, Doom 3. Doom 3 was bragged about being this new step in generation of gaming. People's reaction to it now is kind of like, it's kind of slow, dark, and not really Doom, basically.
Well, that's when it came out. Now Doom 3, when it comes out on the BFG edition, it's like, this is much different compared to what I'm used to with regenerating hell and cover-based shooter.
Yeah, but even then, people still don't really think Doom 3 is that great at all. I mean, we got Doom 4. I'm going to call it Doom 4, screw what people think of it. But again, it's like, that's the standard these games have. Their legacy, in many ways, the legacy is the thing that weighs them down at times, and it almost stops them from experimenting. But that said, like you said, there's got to be a limit. There's always going to be a thing of, what can we do to make this series relevant for a new generation? And more importantly, not completely alienate what old fans are. And that's a very difficult thing. And there are many people who have said stuff like, Sonic, I remember a guy from Good Blood, for instance, YouTuber, did a whole thing about, what he thinks Sonic should be. And he did actually ask a bunch of kids what they were interested in. They were saying Call of Duty. But again, it's that idea of Sonic does have a market of, it's popular with kids, but it's also popular with people our age and even older.
Yeah, people who grew up with the franchise.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of that catering thing of, we have to appeal to still a kids audience. I mean, Sonic has always appealed for kids anyway. That's just an exception. But
which some people just don't think, oh, Sonic should be a bit more serious. It's like, no, that's just you.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we realise, I think particularly with Tashi, he does know that there is a large audience out there of older fans who are so ingrained with it, so in tune with the series, that they do have to cater for them. That's why Generations was made in the first place, is to cater both to the old players and the new players. So, again, what the next game is going to be is undoubtedly Sonic Team's next attempt to try and push it further. And like I said, I give them as much as admiration as I can. I mean, yeah, they'll stumble. Yeah, they'll do some stupid bullshit. Some levels will drive me nuts or whatever. But you know what? I'd rather have them than,
Sonic Dreams Collection.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's be fair. They're trying. They really are trying. I mean, if you're going to give any admiration to Sonic, you can at least say, well, they tried. And you know what? In the gaming industry where it's so easy just to do just basically either do a game where you race it, punch it, shoot it, or grind it. Let's be fair, they're trying. Sonic games.
Yeah, they actually still make games. And if all else fails, just do a bunch of Rouge cheesecake shots. There you go.